Good afternoon, students. Welcome back to your economic subject. As you may be knowing that we are with the Indian economic development subject, and we are going through the economic reform since 1991 unit. So here almost we have discussed liberalization, privatization and globalization. So in the last class, the globalization, in the last session we were discussing about the globalization. Then we have ended with the globalization with the World Trade Organization concept. Now, so today, in today's session, we are going to discuss Indian economy during reform assessment. So see, in the previous chapters, as we know that the reforms were introduced regarding the agriculture, then the growth and employment and the industrial reforms were taken. But till what extent it was utilized or how it has been developed, that we are going to discuss now. Okay, so here obviously we will be starting with the concept as a Indian economic during reform assistance. See, once you introduce the reforms, it has to work, right? So without any output, if you are introducing the reforms, it is no use. For that purpose we are going to see here. Okay, so let's get started to this. The reforms has completed 1.5 decade since introduction. So after the introduction of these reforms, 1.5 decade has completed. Okay, then after that, let us know at the performance of the Indian economy during this period. Now, the reforms when it was introduced after this, that time what all things came into existence. So here in this time period, we are going to see how much we have changed or got developed. Okay, so here in economic growth of an economy is measured by the GDP. See, when we make the things, just we, if you want to see the growth of our economy, we measure it in gross domestic production. We call that gross domestic production as a GDP as well. Look at the table. The growth of GDP increased from 5.6, see, in the year 1980 to 91. Okay, it has increased during the year 2017. See, this is half of the information. So 2002 to 7, it was 8%. There is an increase in 8% of the GDP. During the reform period, the growth of agriculture has declined. See, if we see the performance, if you are looking forward only with the agriculture sector, is very low as compare. But about the other sector, industrial sector has a growth, and even with the service sector has growth, but not the agriculture sector. We are failing in the agriculture sector over here. Here the performance you can see 3.62, it has increased to 4. Okay, so but the GDP rate 5.62, it has reached the 8%. Okay, then while the industrial sector report fluctuations, in the industrial sector it is a fluctuated. See, first in the 1982-91 it was 7.1, then 1992 to 2001 6.5. It is fluctuating, it is going up and down. So after this year it has down, and again suddenly it has increased to 9.5%. Okay, the growth of service sector has been gone up. See, in service sector is increasing 6.2, sorry, 6.7, 8.2, 9.1. It is not fluctuating or decreasing, it is directly increasing, going up. Okay, then this indicates that the growth is mainly driven for the growth of the service sector. So here we are going to get increased in service sector only, not about the agriculture sector. Then 12th plan 2012 and 17, the GDP rate was 9 or 9.5. This was till the 2002 to 7. After that, 2011, 12 to 17, this has increased to 9.5%. This 8 here in the slide, as you can see, it has increased to 9.5%. Okay, then in order to achieve such high growth rate, the agriculture, industrial and service sector have been have a grow at a rate of 4 to 4.2. That is what, 4 to 4.2, then 9.6 to 10.6, and 10% points respectively. See, this is the change between 4 to 4.2 has gone, and 9 to 10.9%. That is what, 10% respectively it has increased. Then, however, some scholars raise apprehensions over the projections of such high rate of growth in unsustainable. See, here we are not going to get a high growth rate here. It is almost a low one. Then the opening up of economy has led to rapid increase in the foreign direct investment. See, when we have made the globalization, we have opened the economy as a world economy. Our Indian economy is a world economy now. Anyone who is interested can come and invest in our country. Okay, that is what foreign direct investment we call. And then the foreign exchange reserves. See, the foreign exchange reserves, the currency. Okay, the foreign investment, which includes foreign direct investments and the foreign institutional investments, FII, has increased from about 10 US, sorry, 100 US dollars, that is 100 million US dollars in the year 1991 to 73.5 million dollars in 2014. That is what there is an increase. It was 73.5 to 100. Okay, that was the gap, how much they have increased again. Okay, then there has been an increase in the foreign exchange reserves from the above, just like 6 million US dollars in 1990 to 91, then about 321 billion US dollars in the year 2014 to 15. See, India is the largest foreign exchange reserves holder in the world. See, maximally India is making the exchange reserves with the foreign country. Maximum they are holding the exchange reserves. Okay, then India is seen as a successful exporter in auto parts. See, maximally our exports are there in auto parts, then engineering. Here the next it comes the engineering goods and IT softwares and textiles in the reform period. Rising price have also kept under control. See, the prices for this has not rise, they have control over here, and maximally our country is exporting the auto parts as well as engineering goods and IT softwares as well. On the other hand, the reform process has been widely criticized for not being able to address some economy, especially in the area of employment, agriculture, industrial and infrastructure development and the physical management. See, maximally if we see comparison, what is the growth in the employment, then what is the growth in the agriculture, what is the growth in the industrial sector, if we see that, we are not up to mark for that. But the employment generation, we have not raised it, we have not increased the employment for the people. Okay, so let's see next one. We first we will be seeing with the employment generation. See, the last point here, as you can see, but not much employment generation. So I will be taking the growth and employment. See, though the GDP rate has been increased, whatever we see, the GDP, it was from 5.6 to 8, it has increased. But in this reform period, the scholars have find out that the employment growth has not yet generated sufficiently. Here, employment growth is not much generated. See, The main important thing is our GDP is increasing, but the employment generation is not increasing sufficiently. We are not getting employment opportunities in India. Okay, so here many of the concepts has to be discussed about the employment generation. The same concepts we'll be discussing in the next unit. So here we are having about the employment generation. In the next units we will be discussing about it in detail. Okay, so next one more, here agriculture assessment. So here in the agriculture reforms, okay, reforms have not been able to benefit agriculture, where the growth rate has been declaring decelerating, means it is decreasing. See, if you see in the last slide, the agriculture sector is declining over here. If you see in the year 2012, year 2 to 7 it is. If you see one more year, it is 2007 to 2012. The agriculture growth rate is only 3.2. Here it has been shown 4, but it is 3.2. Okay, so that is what one of the drawback for us. Okay, so let's see further. Here agriculture reforms in agriculture, the public investment in agriculture sector, especially in infrastructure, which indicates irrigation, power, roads, market linkages, and research and extension, which played a crucial role in the Green Revolution, has fallen in the reform period. See, whatever we are looking forward in the infrastructure development of the agriculture field, okay, specifically agriculture field, the infrastructure has not developed, such as irrigation, then power, electricity power also we require, then roads we require, then market linkages. Whatever you produce in the agriculture, you need to have the market nearby, and even the research and the extensions are not been made. And even the green revolution plays an important role, but it was not helped, or it has not increased. Okay, so it has fallen down in the reform periods. Further, the removal of fertilizers subsidy has led to increase in the cost of production. See, when first they used to give the subsidy for the fertilizers, the things, whatever the fertilizers are used for the food grains, to increase the food grains, that is been used, they have removed the subsidy. Even the cost of the production got increased. Okay, then which has severely affected small and marginal farmers. See, when the cost of production increases, the whatever the food grains you are producing in the agriculture, so normally the small and marginal farmers will be getting affected. This sector has been experiencing number of policy changes in the reduction of the import duties and agriculture products, removal of minimum support price, and lifting of quantitative restrictions on the agriculture products. See, maximum of time what happens when you are reducing the imported, that is what importing taxes over here. Okay, the duties, whatever are been taxable, if you are reducing that, obviously there will be a effect on the agriculture field. You are not importing, or else you are importing the goods with the lower cost. Means that what it means, the taxation, if you are reducing the uh, taxes for the imported goods, means almost it will be affecting our domestic products over here. Okay, then these have adversely affected Indian farmers, as they now have to face increase in international competition. See, almost when you are reducing the taxes for the imported goods, means what happens? Almost the domestic production which the farmers are making, that will be affected over here. For that purpose, at least the imported goods taxes has to be increased. They have to reduce to bring the imported goods. If you reduce it, then your domestic development will be increasing, or else we are not going to increase the domestic production over here. So here, moreover, because of export oriented policy strategies in agriculture, there has been a shift from production of the domestic market towards the production of the export market, focusing on the crops of lie of production of the food grains. This put pressure on the price of the food grains. See, when you are focusing to export more, that time what happens? You are thinking to earn more. Okay, whatever the goods which you are increasing, what you will try to do, you will get more benefit. So almost the prices also will be increasing. That is what affected to the agriculture sector. Okay, then coming to the next point, industrial and trade. Here two things are there. Here we are going to see the industrial sector as well as the trades which take place over here. Okay, here industrial sector growth has been recorded as a slowdown. See, if you see the table GDP rate, it is slow down. Here we are not getting a higher increase in the industrial sector. It is fluctuating, it is increasing, decreasing, increasing, decreasing. Here we are not getting a increase in the GDP rate as we can see in the industrial sector. But only one benefit which we have got is service sector has been increasing, gone up, but not the industrial sector. Here, this is because decrease in demand of industrial product due to the cheaper, that is what, due to the various reasons such as cheaper imports. See what happens, if you want to develop our nation, what you have to do, you have to increase the export and reduce the imports. If you are reducing the rate of imported goods, what it means, you are going to get affected to the industries or the products which you have produced in your nation. Okay, so here what happens over here, due to industrial products, due to the various reasons such as cheaper imports, inadequate investment in the infrastructure, etc. In the globalized world, developing countries are completed to open up the economies to the greater flow of goods and capital from the developed countries and rendering the industries vulnerable to imported goods. See what happens, when you are getting imported goods at less price than our domestic goods, what you will prefer? You will go for the imported goods only. You local made goods you will not purchase. So it will be affecting our domestic industries. When you are globalization has made, you have to restrict it. Why? Because domestic manufacturers also will be facing the global competition. Why? Because due to this globalization, everyone wants to come into market and compete over here. For that purpose it will be affecting, so that you need to reduce the imports of the goods over here. Then domestic manufacturers are facing competition from imports. The infrastructure facilities, including power supply, has remained inadequate due to the lack of investment. See, those who work over here, the industries which are working, they are facing the power supply problem. Then their goods are inadequate. Then lack of investment is there in our nation. So all the imported goods are being used maximally. Then globalization thus often see and as increasing conditions of the free movements of the goods and services from the foreign countries that adversely affect the local industries and employment opportunities in the developing countries. See, our country is developing country. Due to this foreign direct investment and the FIII, Foreign Institute of Investment, here our domestic people or domestic industries are getting affected over here, and this is creating a employment opportunities also are less. So our nation is a developing. So if we are facing this many problems, how we can develop over here? So certain things and certain restrictions has to be made for the direct foreign direct investment plus the globalization with the market which you are increasing the imported goods, that has to be reduced. Then coming to the next part, here we are going to see the disinvestment. See, every year the government fixes a target of disinvestment in the public sector units. See, every time what the government is doing, they are reducing their shares. Means they are sharing their sector with the private people. Why? Because for the development purpose they are disinvesting in the public sector enterprises. For instance, in year 1991 to 92, it was targeted to mobilize 2,500 crores through disinvestment. See, in the year 1991 to 92, the public sector units 2,500 crores they made the disinvestment. Then the government was able to mobilize 3,040 crore more than the target. In the year 2014-15, the target about was about 56,000 crores. See, one side they are thinking to develop, and here the government is making disinvestment. Disinvestment means the money which is invested, they are taking off and giving the private people to invest in that. So in the year 1991, it was 2,500 crores disinvestment. Actually, they were planning to make 3,040 crores and more. And then further, in the year 2014-15, the target was about 56,000 crore, whereas they achieved about 34,500. Means they wanted to make disinvestment in the public sector enterprises. How much they kept the target? 56,000 crores, but they achieved only 34,500 crores only. So this is what the government is trying to give the opportunity to the private peoples by making disinvestment. Disinvestment means removing out the investment in that sectors. Criticize points that the assets of public sector enterprises have been undervalued and sold to the private sector. What this government is doing, they are undervaluing the assets and selling to the private sector. This means that there has been a substantial loss to the government. Now, obviously, actual price of the goods, the assets is more, but you are reducing the prices of that and you are selling it, means you are facing the losses. The government is facing loss over here. Okay. Moreover, the procedure of from disinvestment were used to obtain for the shortage of the government revenue rather than the using the development of public sector units and building social infrastructure in the country. See, government, due to the shortage of the revenue, the government started to sell their sector to the private peoples. Okay, government is making, instead of thinking the development of the country, they are increasing the revenue, means revenue part by selling the, by making the disinvestment. The revenue during the period was reduced. For that purpose they started to make disinvestment. And last part, if you see, we are having a normal one concept over here, just like physical policy reforms at the time of physical policies. Now in the physical policies what happens, see, economic reforms has placed limits for the growth of public expenditure, especially in the social sector. See, when the reforms took place on the physical policies which is been framed by the government, that time what happens, you know, they expenditure has come into control. See, the economic reforms has placed limits on growth of the expenditure, public expenditure, especially in the social sectors. The tax reduction in the reform period aimed to yield large revenue and to curb tax evasion has not resulted in increase in the tax revenue for the government. See, one thing, if you are reducing the taxes, means you are reducing your, the government is reducing the revenue. That is one of the thing. Then further, also the reform policies involving tariff reduction was crucial curtailed curtailed the scope of raising revenue through the customs duties. See, whatever the goods import and export you pay make from one country to another country, you need to pay here the customs duties. In order to attract foreign investment, tax incentives were provided to the foreign investors, which further reduce the scope of raising tax revenue. See, to develop our nation, what we used to do, we used to call and make the tax reduction. And when you are making the tax reduction, the foreign direct investors will get attracted over here. But you are calling them making here the investment, but you are reducing your tax revenue as well. There is a reduction in tax revenue. If they are coming here and investing, means your tax will be collected more, but here the tax revenue has been decreased here. Okay, this is a negative impact on the developmental and the welfare expenditure. So this is all about the Indian economic during the reforms. So here we have covered the concept about the employment, then agriculture and the industrial sectors. Okay. So after this, we are going to see one of the example of the Sirisila tragedy. Here, the power sector reforms. It is all about the power sector reforms. So let's see what all things are there over here. Okay. As you can see in the slide, as a part of liberalization, privatization, and globalization, the government started to reform the power sector as well. Okay. The most important impact of these reforms has been a step hike in power tariff, since the power looms on which a large number of industrial works in cottage and small scale in sector depends are driven by power energy. The impact of high tariff on them has been very serious. See, one thing, in our country, maximally cottage and small scale industries has to be developed. But here, due to the power sector, they are falling down, as we can see here. Further, the power sector reforms have led to hike in tariffs. The power producers have failed in providing quality power for the power looms industries. See, power sector means the electricity supply, how much is been required, they are failing to provide. See, if you want to develop our industrial sector, means power supply has to be given for them. Due to adequate supply of this power, we are falling down. Okay, that is one of the industrial sector is not developing over here, since the wages for the power loom workers are linked to the production of the cloth. Power cut means cut in wages of the weavers who are already suffering hike in the tariffs. See, one thing, if you are working in a cloth company, the cotton clothes are made. If the power cutting is there, means the workers who are working there, the wages will be reduced. The weavers, the workers, the laborers who are working there, they will not get the salary or the wages will be reduced over here. This is what the suffering which industrial sectors are been made. This led to crisis in the livelihood of the weavers. The workers who are working in the cloth company, they are going to face the problems. Okay. Then 50 power looms workers committed suicide in the small town called Sirisila in Andhra Pradesh. See, due to this, if you the workers are not getting wages, means what they don't have the alternative options to work, which they are specialized workers in the weaving machines. Means they are going to do that work only. Due to this reason, the power sector shortage, the workers were not getting the wages. Due to that reason, in one of the report, they nearly 50 power loom workers committed suicide in a small town in Andhra Pradesh, Sirisila. They committed the suicide in Andhra Pradesh. This is the case of this Sirisila. Do you think the power's tariff should not be raised? Obviously, see, the tariffs means what, the rate of the power's electricity. it should not increase. Obviously, it should not increase. Due to that, the production rates also increases, and due to that, the wages or the workers' salary or the wages also will be affected. Then, what would be the suggestion to improve the profitability of the electricity producing companies? Now, what alternative plans you have that you are going to bring into existence, and you can suggest over here? So what plan you are having to develop over here? So here we are going to end up with this chapter. So last, thank you. So today we are going to end up with this chapter naming as a globalization, privatization and liberalization. The three names LPG, what we call over. Today we are ending with this concept. If any of the doubts are there, you can raise now.